What up, America? What up, world? Welcome to a Better Black America podcast, the #1 urban podcast stateside and worldwide. Now, today is Good Friday, April 15th, 2022. And welcome to a Better Black America podcast where we seek solutions and resolutions to create a better America for all. Now, the politics, when it comes to upward mobility, when it comes to moving in a different course to get out of the crash course, to get in a path of success or a path of righteousness, to raise the level or to raise the bar from a humanity perspective, politics is the most important entity of them all. And it's strange that somehow we believe, think, or motivated by others not to indulge or to pay attention or to understand the importance of politics when it comes to national and global, and have us focus on things that are distractions, things that will keep us from growing, things that will dumb us down, things that will make us pretty marginal and mortal. But when you talk about black excellence, there has to be a movement of upward mobility by not only the chosen people, but God's people. Now, today is Good Friday. And if you don't know, Good Friday biblically was when the Israelites were freed and was led out of Egypt by Moses. But it's not a happy ending, because they wandered after they got their freedom, after they got through and passed the Red Sea. They wandered for 40 years, and Moses died at 120 years with the promised land in sight. Sounds pretty familiar. So they're doing the cipher. They're doing the cipher, meaning they're just repeating history and then just basically not even paying attention or could care less if somebody actually figure out the pattern, because time is undefeated. Because eventually when they figure out the pattern, either it's by an assassin's bullet or time's just run out. And time is undefeated. So when I say time is undefeated, the reason I'm mentioning it, that time is undefeated, because you're looking at our politicians and our elected officials on the Democratic side that have been appointed these seats with no term limits, and the dangers of dealing with term limits when it comes to people with power. Now, Dianne Feinstein, the senator from California, and this was an article, actually hot topic, trending topic, and is actually a right now as we speak trending. Dianne Feinstein, her colleagues are worried that she is now mentally unfit to serve, cited recent interactions. Now, she had a colleague as of yesterday that actually went on record, said she went to talk to her colleague that she's been working with for approximately 15 years. And they usually go in and, have extensive debates, extensive talks, and it's brutal. Now, the colleague, she's anonymous. But this time, instead of discussing policy, she and her team had to reintroduce themselves. Wow. That's all I can say. They had to reintroduce themselves. And mind you, she's 88 years old. So when you look at a person in a position like Dianne Feinstein, a California senator who's 88 years old, who clearly is cognitively declining because time is undefeated, the dangers of that is what we call elderly abuse. And when I say elderly abuse, meaning they could put something on her table, play games with her, manipulate her, use her to do some things that she probably morally would not have agreed to in her younger years. This is why we have to really look at the term limits when it comes to our politics, because it's a loophole. Now look at Joe Biden. He's 79 years old and he will be 80 in November. And clearly he's cognitively declining. And look at the dangers. Someone could put something on his desk that he does not read or miss, and it can actually recalibrate the world, maybe in a not so good situation. This is why we have a whole bunch of what's going on globally. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, who's considered the most powerful person in Washington, is 82 years old. So right now, our parents and grandparents are pretty much in control. And I personally don't believe that they really want to be in those positions, but the relationships that they have over the years have them in these positions, and they are going to be cemented in these positions because the family, the few that makes the decisions when it comes to globalism and world changing situations, pretty much have them right where they need them. Because if they want some policy changes right now, they can actually manipulate or do anything that they want to do. But we as a people, we really have to have the heart and the courage and understand that we're more than capable of driving the country to safe ground. Because if you look back at our age, they were in office. So it's not like we cannot, make the decisions. It's just the fact that we've been boxed out. So this is why we can actually have a form of a shadow government when it comes to black issues and black policies, because there's no one advocating for a particular group of people who have documentation in the Constitution that on the federal level is still considered good economic. Now, since H.R. 55, the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act has passed, you cannot or no longer have a criminalization clause in the Constitution. So Joe Biden looks like he does not know what he's doing. And it looks like they're, switching paperwork on him and basically liberating us in plain sight, because Barack Obama was at the White House last week when Joe Biden signed the CARE Act into law. And some of the scholars are actually saying that Obama basically told Joe Biden, if the only reason I'll come down there if you make Obamacare law, sign it into law, pass it, add to it, and keep it, I'll come down. But Barack Obama is a pretty smart guy. And he knows without a shadow of a doubt, for things to happen down the road, that there are some things that has to be, looked at. We have to, relook at the Constitution. We have to, start second guessing decisions. We have to really look into the 60s and see what happened and understand that everything died with the people that they memorialize. Just look at today. And the reason I mentioned Good Friday is because that's the day that Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, meaning the Israelites were freed. Sounds pretty familiar when it comes to a group of people here in America. There's a mass exodus of the two-party system because the black Americans finally realized that we are the good economic for both political parties, but we can no longer be torn in between the two, because that's the science of Willie Lynch. And Willie Lynch is real. There's no such thing as critical race theory, as critical race facts and critical race systems. Because in 2022, on May 29th, 2022, President Joe Biden signed a bill with Emmett Till and Mr. Willie Lynch's name on it. Now, it's a trap, but just by merely calling it that, it killed any possible debate or any opposition. So a lot of times when we step up and do things, there's an opposition. But when you are doing things with a clear conscience, with a clear understanding, know that you're doing it for the greater good, not only for yourself, but for God's people. There's no such thing as an opposition. because the truth is the truth and the truth shall make us free. No one's going to sit back and argue that 2 + 2 is not 4. But those who will argue are the agitators and the ignorant people of the universe. And this is why we are making a big distinct difference between black excellence and black ignorance. See, black ignorance have been going on for far too long, because black ignorance is the reason the crab bucket syndrome is still in effect. Black ignorance is the reason that the crime rate is still high. Black ignorance is the reason why we cannot get along or cannot even have a conversation. Black ignorance. Because black ignorance wants to choke out black excellence, but you can't choke out the truth. And with that being said, black excellence is on the rise. And when I say black excellence, there's never been a movement of black excellence in the history of the world, because we had not even had an opportunity to even claim to be free or even claim to be separate from the two-party system, more importantly, the Democratic Party. Now, if the Democratic Party was a chocolate chip factory and made billions upon billions of dollars with chocolate chips, moving forward, you're going to have to purchase these chocolate chips wholesale, because you are no longer the owners of our economic, our race, which is our grace. There are some things that has to take place before we can move forward. And this is how we win. See, the devil always give you an option, but God, there's no options there. There's light, there's dark. There's positive, there's negative. It's that simple. There's optimism, there's pessimism. But the truth is the truth, and the truth shall make us free. I did not say set us free. I said make us free, because if the truth shall set you free, that's cemented on the ground, on the flooring of the main entrance of the CIA. The truth shall make you free. You see how the devil finds a way to put himself into it, because it's in the physical realm. Now, the spiritual realm is pretty much our spiritual compass in which we are morally rising, because there has to be a rise in social consciousness. Now, if you look at all the things that have happened and transpired prior to this day, has been a distraction and an illusion to distract us to forget about who we are. But God is in the midst. The word is in the midst. The spirit is in the midst. So now this is how it feels to be motivated and encouraged to basically take the victory lap. Now, we can look at society and see what's going on as a whole, but we have to stand up and isolate ourselves and differentiate ourselves from the other races, cultures, and creed, because those other races, cultures, and creed is the reason why we have not received our rightful position and our gold medal. See, the whole system was established and predicated on the downtrodden, on the oppression and the slavery of a group of people that have the most natural gifts. Now, the world has natural resources, but if you look at a group of people from a racial perspective, there's a group of people that is distinctively different than the others. But somehow the others control the power, controls the history, controls the TV. And this is why the liberal world is flipping, because Elon Musk, an independent person, is basically put in an offer to purchase Twitter. Because if Elon Musk purchases Twitter, then the liberals do not have control, because Jack Dorsey's Jewish, who owns Twitter, and Jay-Z sold his title to him. He's trying to get out of the game, because Twitter and Facebook owned by Zuckerberg, who's literally changing into Meta, they are responsible for the destruction, not only this country, but the world, because they allowed their systems, their communications, their hashtags, their Facebooks, their viral to go around and to manipulate, and it became something that they could not control, destroyed the world, broke all our economies down,